Hello there boys and girls. In today's video, I will show you how to make a responsive and modern looking login page. We will be using simple HTML and CSS to make this project, and the only external resources we will be using are some illustrations and some waves. Let's take a look at what we're making. Our idea is to keep our project pretty simple, so our designs will focus on a few concepts. One of which is to follow a proper symmetrical layout. If you notice, everything in my project is pretty well distributed, and if I had a line going down through the center of the page, there will be an equal distribution of things on both the sides. We also have the main content at the center of our page. That way it gets a lot more focus. We are also going to be using a proper color palette. This is going to be very important so that we don't overload our users' senses. If you notice, the texts aren't exactly black, they're kind of grayish. The buttons also have a good teal background color, and our inputs don't look like they're from the year 2000. The illustration also has a good theme that does not overload the user's senses. The wave background is also pretty nice and it blends well. We also want this setup to fit in any screen without breaking, so we have to design it in such a way that it takes less lines of CSS to perform responsively. Before we get into coding, let's gather some resources and set up our illustrations. Undraw is a pretty cool place to find hundreds of illustrations on many different topics. If you look up login, it will give you a bunch of illustrations to choose from. They're all free and you can change their colors and stuff like that as well. Once you have downloaded the illustration, open it up in Figma. This is also an awesome tool you should have in your pocket. Once you fire it up, click on the part you want to animate. In our case, it's going to be the keyhole. So shift select all the parts that make the keyhole and then press Ctrl G. This will group all the components we chose. Now click the parent component and head to the export section. Select SVG and click the option tab. Here, select include ID attribute. This is important. Export this into your projects folder. If you open this up in VS Code, you will be able to find the group you created. Change its ID to keyhole. Let's get going with HTML now. In your body, make an app div. We will start with the header. It will have a title inside of it. We also need a navbar and a few options inside there. I'm going for home, about, and leads. They don't really mean anything for this project. If you open this up in your browser, it will look like nothing at all. Now let's add a login div. In here we will have a title called login. An input for the username, set its placeholder to enter username/email. And another input for password, set its type to password as well. We also need a link for the forgot password option. Let's add some buttons as well. Once you're done with this much, copy all the SVG into your app and give it an ID of illustration. And now we can start with CSS. Firstly, select all and set box sizing to border box, padding and margin to 0, and font family to Arial. In the app, set display to flex, align items to center, and flex direction to column. Also set justify content to center as well. We also need the width to be 100 VW and the height to be 100 VH. Give it a darker background color as well. The header is going to be pretty simple. Set the width to 100%, display to flex, justify content to space between, and align items to center. Setting the flex direction to row is also important. Set the background color to white, and apply some top and bottom padding. The navbar will be 30% the width of the header. Things will be center aligned and spaced between. Also, it needs to follow a row format, and to make it not stick to the edge, give it some margin to the right. The options will have a lighter color. Coming to the illustration, set the width to 100% and height to 40%. Also set the z-index to 2. Coming to the keyhole itself, set its z-index to 2, transform origin to center. This essentially means that the 0,0 point is at the center of the keyhole. Set the transform box to fill box, and add a transition of 0.2 seconds. Now let's make the unlock state. All we need to do is rotate the keyhole by 90 degrees on the z-axis. The login will have a width of 30 VW and a height of 50 VH. We want its content to flow downwards. We want it to be center aligned and spaced evenly. Also give it a margin right of 2 EM. The title will have a larger font size and a gray color. Make its font weight bolder and text aligned to center. We want the input to be neat and clear. So make the font size 1 rem, get rid of the border. Also set the border bottom to 1 pixel solid and teal. Get rid of the outline, get rid of the background, and text align to center. The buttons container will have a width of 100%, and we want the buttons to be evenly spaced and center aligned. Let's target the buttons now. Set the background color to teal, color to white, give it a width of 40% and a height of 100%. Text align to center, let's give it a padding of 0.3 em, and make the text more prominent. Set the cursor to pointer as well. On button hover, all we need to do is lighten the background color a bit. The last element we want to style is the hyperlink. All we need to do is make it less visible and a little smaller. Coming to the responsive part. Make a media rule for the screen and max width 720 pixels. This means that the rules we specify in here will only apply if the screen is less than or equal to 720 pixels. We need to make some minor changes in here. First, the header will have justify content to center. We will get rid of the nav bar. The login will have a width of 100% and height of 50 VH. Set its margin right to 0. Let's work on getting the waves now. If you go to getwaves.io, you can generate some awesome looking waves and copy their SVG into your HTML. I have made 3 with different colors already. What you need to do now is give all the waves a class of bottom, since we want them to stick to the bottom. In your CSS, set the bottom's width to 100%, position to absolute, bottom to 0, and set the Z index to 0 as well. This will put them all at the bottom of the page and behind everything. Let's add a little more functionality now. In your HTML, find the login button and add the onClick event listener. We want to toggle the keyhole. At the end of your body, make a script tag and write the toggle function. All we have to do here is call the keyhole from the DOM, and in its class list, toggle the unlock class. And with that, I'll end this video. If you like the content and want more, subscribe to my channel. If you have a question or suggestion, leave it in the comments below and share this video with people you think might need it. I am Yash, and this has been making a logging page with simple HTML and CSS. I'll see you in the next one.